Welcome, everybody, to Franchise Addicts. We got a special bonus episode. We're coming to you live, though most of you probably will not be watching it live since it's outside of our normal time here. 8:30 in the morning, Central Time, 9:30 on the East Coast, where our guest, Dominic from Talkin TV, is joining us. Welcome, Dominic. It's been fun getting to know you, chatting. Finally, you're on the show.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to be here. Happy to talk about one of my favorite franchises. Happy to talk about what I think might be the best of said franchise. And yeah, like I said, good to actually, as I said in the pre-stream, good to actually put a face and an actual name to the Franchise Addicts chat that I've been talking with for the past, like, how long has it been now? Like a month?
It's been a month, yeah. We've been planning this out. It was tough because we started chatting when Evil Dead was coming up. We already had most of our guests planned out for that. So we had to catch them on the Indiana Jones side. So we are talking Indiana Jones Last Crusade today. We're going to have an episode here with Dominic. Him and I are going to go through the film, normal Franchise Addict style. And then tomorrow night, Chris is going to be back on the show. So normal show, me, Chris. And then we have one of Chris's friends is going to be on with us. He's a super fan of the Franchise Addicts. And he has listened to most of our episodes and is finally going to be actually on an episode. So looking forward to that. We'll also tackle Last Crusade with those guys. But first, Dominic, Last Crusade. How did you come to this movie? What is your history with it? What makes you love this movie?
So, funnily enough, Indiana Jones, the franchise, is one of a couple franchises that I came into when I want to say I was about 13 years old. I was about 8th grade in middle school. You know, that like peak adolescent time where you're starting to transition from being a boy into a man, but not quite there yet. Like I got the I was locked in with Transformers, Fast and Furious, Ninja Turtles, early MCU. But like my parents finally realized, like, okay, like the kids are old enough now because it's me and my 2 younger brothers. Like it's time to start showing them some classics. So I will never forget. I'd already I still had yet to go before I would watch The Godfather and Pulp Fiction because those would be on my own. But with my parents, we ended up watching the Indiana Jones movies and then the first 2 Dark Knight movies because the third one had yet to come out in theaters. And we only watched the first 2 of each of those movies for whatever reason. We never ended up watching The Last Crusade. And I love Raiders and Temple of Doom both. I'm also not one of those guys that's like, oh, Temple of Doom's the worst. Like, no, Temple of Doom is just as awesome as the first 2. But for whatever reason, we didn't get to Last Crusade. I don't remember why. If it was just busy or if we had planned to watch it but never got a chance to. So it took me a little bit to get to Last Crusade. I want to say it was like over the summer and I was hanging out with my friend Kyle, who I hadn't hung out with in a little bit. And he ended up, turns out he had all the Indiana Jones movies on VHS. So I'm like, oh, I haven't seen the last one, The Last Crusade. Can we watch it? We ended up watching it at his place, and I loved it. I loved it just as much as the first 2. Everything that makes, I've said this before about the Indiana Jones trilogy, is that everything that works kind of against the normal trilogy rules, I guess you could say, where it's one continuous story spread out across 3 entries, is exactly what makes the Indiana Jones movies great. Because the Indiana Jones, it's exactly what Spielberg and George Lucas envisioned them as, which is that recreations of all the fun serials that they grew up watching, those corny adventure serials that they would put on TV.
Yeah, and Indiana Jones kind of turns into, in hindsight, I would imagine that it wasn't, or maybe it was a little bit this way, but in hindsight, it's turned into, is the quest good? Is the MacGuffin in the movie something that we, the audience, want to see? I think that happens with the Ark of the Covenant. Boom, obviously, first movie, great. People love it. And then obviously you got to come back with the Holy Grail in the third one. Another iconic kind of treasure from the past. I think that's where Temple of Doom, just in hindsight, kind of, because you don't quite know what is the MacGuffin in that movie. It's really those stones, but I can't even name the stones. And I just watched the movie last week. That doesn't take anything away from the fun of Temple of Doom. We talked all about that. We thought it was great. I think it makes the first 3 movies of Indiana Jones one of the best trilogies of all time. And Crusade is very much the same. Now, I've hinted in past podcasts that Crusade, for me, I don't hold it as high as other people. Other people think it's better than Raiders. I don't think it's better than Raiders. My main reason for thinking that is I don't love the last 20 minutes, the kind of
Oh, okay.
in the cave part with the night and all that sort of stuff. It's fine. It's just really slow. I don't love it. Everything else though, this movie is
Yeah.
just crack.
Yeah.
I said it about Raiders. I'll say it about this movie. My other criticism would be that Crusade is essentially just Raiders redone.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's funny because that kind of goes into the making of it also, where Spielberg and Lucas kind of had a little bit of an awareness coming out of Temple of Doom, where I feel like they zagged a little bit left, and like Spielberg, well, I mean, we all
it's
know he was married to Kate Capshaw, so there was a little bit of Temple of Doom where like, oh, there's a little bit of the Kate Capshaw show, and people didn't react as well to that. But at Last Crusade, they were like, okay, we're just gonna go back to what made Raiders great, and we're gonna double down on that, and that's part of why this movie is as awesome as it is.
it's genius. I mean, because these movies are nothing if not just for audience entertainment. So obviously, you feel like you maybe stumbled a little with two. Just go back to the formula in three, and the formula just works. And they make a couple of great choices. Young Indy at the start,
Yeah.
obviously adding in another iconic actor. And it just makes it work all the way through. So let's do a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff. So we've got obviously Steven Spielberg coming back for the directing. Producers are George Lucas, Frank Marshall. I believe this is Frank Marshall's first time producing in the series, I think, right?
I'll check. I thought I remembered seeing his name on Raiders. So
It might be. And then obviously we have the story characters by George Lucas. Also, the most interesting part of this is the actual screenplay itself, which is credited to Jeffrey Boehm.
yeah,
Jeffrey Boehm, however, made something that wasn't kind of what we see. Tom Stoppard is credited for a lot of the
I was literally
improvement.
just gonna say that. Yeah, R.I.P. to the late great Tom Stoppard, who just recently passed away.
The legend, apparently, because apparently the script was kind of a mess and
Yeah.
Spielberg didn't really know what he was going to do. Stoppard comes in, basically script doctors the whole thing, fixes it, makes it more of a father-son movie, which fits perfectly. We talked about it in Temple of Doom, how one of the reasons why Indy works is that all of the supporting characters are just like caricatures of normal, novel types of characters that you see. So you have in this movie or in the past movies, so like Marion is essentially a sidekick / love interest / historical girl. Kate Capshaw in Temple of Doom is more of the girly girl. She is the, screaming, person that Harrison Ford has to protect. And
She's
Indy
like Kate Capshaw's character in that movie is like a parody of
yeah,
Fay Ray from the original King Kong, is what that is.
exactly. Yeah. She's essentially doing the King Kong blonde. And then in this movie, you get more of the femme fatale, who, you get she's kind of like a Bond girl where you get the turn.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of back to like, I don't know if you remember this, but there was an old Schmoes Know review. I don't remember which movie they were reviewing, but they were referencing Temple of Doom, and they mentioned the actress's name, and it's so stupid, but it's one of the funniest bits that I've ever seen. Which is the actress's name is Allison Duty. Enough said. Enough said right there. The joke speaks for itself.
Yeah. But yeah, again, Tom Stoppard, he gets a ton of credit for this script. And budget of $48 million. So it is one of the most expensive films of 1989. Back in the 80s, that used to be a ton of money.
Yeah, I was about to say 48 million today compared to what's the average budget for a Marvel movie today? Like between 200 to 300 million, something like that.
Insane. Yeah. I mean, One Battle After Another just spent 200 million, and that's a like art house, crime movie. $48 million. It made 197 domestic, 474 worldwide. Box office smash. I believe Raiders, I can't remember. We talked about it on a past episode, but either Raiders or Crusade is the highest grossing of all the movies. I'm sure the new ones, because of inflation, potentially are higher. Like I think Dial of Destiny did decent.
Dial of Destiny, I don't believe did so well because, again, that was another one that just had a massive, massive budget. Like, if I'm looking it up right now.
Those movies usually end up doing fine worldwide.
Right. Because they've got the worldwide appeal. Yeah, Dial of Destiny. So keep in mind what you just said, right? So I just checked. Raiders has a budget of 20 million, clears close to 400 million. Last Crusade is a $48 million budget, clears just a little, like closer to like 480 something million. Dial of Destiny has a budget of 352 million and only grossed 384 million.
All
that
right.
is a flop if I ever heard of one.
Yeah, so that's about 100 less total than Crusade made worldwide, and
Right.
then
Nearly
Crusade's
triple the budget.
Yeah, Crusade's adding another 200 million on top. Yeah, the budgets now are just insane. The marketing budgets bump it up. Basically, back in the 80s, you just had to say there's a new Indiana Jones movie, and you already knew you were going to make $200 million. Like that's your marketing budget.
Because people went to see movies in theaters too.
Yeah, totally different game. Some other things that we'll just get to before actually getting into the movie proper. Spielberg had an idea to do a young Indy film, which is why the opening scene is of young Indy. They were going to have River Phoenix play young Indy. It was going to be a whole thing. They ended up just scrapping that idea, doing something else. Obviously, Harrison Ford, you got to get him back in the movie. You can't just have a non-Harrison Ford Indy movie. But that's basically where it came from. River Phoenix said he based some of his mannerisms mostly on Harrison Ford, not on what is written in the script. But I mean, I would assume so. He's a fantastic actor already.
And I mean, couple things to add. Yeah, definitely. A couple things to add to that. Obviously, just the get of River Phoenix for 1989. Like, people today wouldn't understand like what a big deal is. It's mostly because obviously, you know, they think of the name Phoenix, they think of Joaquin's brother, but like literally, like when people don't understand just how much River Phoenix was being shaped up to be like the next big thing. Like,
River Phoenix would have been Brad Pitt. He would have been Sean Penn. Like all those guys rolled into one. You have no idea what a monumental star this kid was going to be.
So that's one thing. And then also but I believe they took the ideas for Young Indy, and that was eventually the inspiration for it. They did the Young Indy TV series, right? It only lasted for like a season, right?
Yep. But yeah, it was going to be a full-length feature film. Makes sense with Spielberg. Kid movie, gets back to the roots there. Connery originally turns down the role because he doesn't think he's old enough. He is only 12 years older than Harrison Ford in the movie. But Connery plays old man so well. If you've ever watched the very funny, horrible movies Highlander.
Oh, yeah.
He plays a very similar character in Highlander, and plays it well. I mean, it's goofy and campy and horrible, but you know, he plays an old man. I believe he's Spanish in the Highlander movie, but he
Spanish
has
with a very Scottish accent.
He has Sean Connery's voice.
It's awesome. Yep.
A lot of Connery improvising. He ad-libbed "She Talks in Her Sleep." The umbrella bird scene concept was all Connery's idea, which is funny because it's actually the dad's idea in the scene itself, coming up with something, you know, impressing Indy. The old man still got it. And then just doing like annoying things like correcting Indy's Latin and stuff like that is all Sean Connery just doing Sean Connery.
I wonder if him slapping Harrison Ford in the face and being like, "That's blush for me," was improvised too. That would have been awesome. Yeah. And also, I just had to point this out. So, because I was just stuck on that again. Sean Connery's character's name in Highlander is Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez, and I don't think he speaks a word of Spanish in that movie at all. So that's just circle. Also, real quick, I don't know if you're watching Landman, what's it called?
I know of it. I don't watch it.
So it's the latest Taylor Sheridan show that premiered last year, which stars Billy Bob Thornton and basically sees him as an oil man who is basically like, it's basically like our kind of regular man's view into the oil boom. And so they just premiered season 2, which and they added Sam Elliott this season as Billy Bob Thornton. And I had to check because I'm like, wait a minute, I don't think Sam Elliott's that much older than Billy Bob Thornton. And I checked, the age gap between Sam Elliott and Billy Bob Thornton is the exact same as the age gap between Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. They're only 12 years apart. So I just thought that was a funny little tidbit there.
Well, it is a Taylor Sheridan show, so Sam Elliott does have to show up in it.
At some point, yes.
It's contractually obligated.
Yes.
I love Sam Elliott. I actually am a big fan of 1883. I think that's
one of the few that I've not gotten to. I've heard that's very good.
His performance in that, Sam Elliott's performance in it, is monumental. It's one of the best Western performances of all time, like full stop. And Sam Elliott has a couple of those.
Yes, he does.
And Tim McGraw is unbelievable. It's crazy. He has to shoulder a ton of the weight of being like the main guy. It's based around the younger girl. She's the main character, but Tim McGraw is basically the main guy. And him and Faith Hill plays his wife in the show. Unbelievable couple. Great stuff.
Yeah, 1883 and then 1923. I've heard great things about both of them, and I definitely need to get to both of those.
Could not get through 1923. It is too much for me. It's just a lot of Old West violence and nasty stuff. Don't need to see that. But yeah, 1883, highly recommend. 1923, Harrison Ford. So let's get into just going through the movie proper. We get our opening flashback. It is a train chase scene with our young Indy, River Phoenix. He steals a treasure of the Cross of Coronado from some looters. Those looters, one of them is dressed in a particular way. So there's the train chase. We get the snake phobia. We get a whip scar. The inspiration for his attire from the guy. And the sheriff eventually forces Indy to return the cross after Sean Connery ignores him and tells him to count to 20 in Greek. And we get the big opening, largely considered one of the best openings in all of the Indy movies. So, Dominic, what did you feel about the Indy opening for Crusade?
I mean, we got to break this down from minute whatever to minute, however long the sequence is, because this is a long sequence too. It's like almost like 9-10 minutes, right? I feel like the longest opening sequence since this that's been like had us this locked in since an opening scene like this is Avengers Infinity War. But yeah, from when we're introduced in a mine, you know, to young Indy, who we're like, wait, who is this River Phoenix guy? Why is River Phoenix here? What's going on here? Where's Harrison Ford at? Leading up to him discovering the looters, and you immediately recognize, oh, this is Indiana Jones, just based off the fact that he's like, oh, like the need to do the right thing, and the fact that like, oh, you know, the whole thing about Indiana Jones is that there's constantly a battle between like, you know, the bad guys are typically wanting to get the treasure and the MacGuffin, if you will, for personal financial gain, as opposed to, or for nefarious purposes, versus Indy, who usually, the irony being that Indiana Jones wants to take all of the MacGuffins and put them in a museum, but so I don't necessarily know if that's like, and then most of the time ends up just like leaving them in their resting place, but I digress. So leading up to one of the most insane action sequences of all time, and all of this is exposition too. That's the other thing too, where we got to give Spielberg credit, is nobody does it better in terms of setting up just pure exposition through action. I mean, maybe Nolan comes close, but there is nobody that does it quite like Spielberg in terms of we spend a full 10 to 15 minutes with a character who is Indiana Jones, but is not the Indiana Jones that we've come to know. And within 10 to 15 minutes of almost all action, little to no dialogue other than the typical Indy dialogue that we know and see. And we immediately understand everything about Indy, why he is the way he is, his fractured relationship with his father, his fear of snakes, his constant, like, kind of, F you to authority that constantly caused him to be a thorn on the bad guy's side, because there's also a little bit of that, like, you know, there's almost like a little bit of like a mutual admiration that the bad guys have for Indy when they see how young he is and what he was able to pull off, and where the bad guy's like, oh, you'll get him next time, kid. And he puts the hat on, match cut to him as an adult, and we're picking up years later. It's just like, it's perfect. This is about as perfect of an opening sequence as you could possibly get.
Yeah, the match cut at the end with the hat putting on and then Harrison Ford looking up from the brim is fantastic. Like you said, you could shut the sound off of this or just have the score, shut the dialogue audio off and you would understand everything that's going on in this. It's shot like a Buster Keaton silent film. That shot from across when it's looking at the train as it's moving across is silent movie like 101.
Yes.
And then moving across, they're almost comically big compared to how the train looks. So it almost looks like a kid train, kind of in that, because it's a circus train way. And then just the fact that it's a circus train makes each car that you go into a new adventure. And so like, you're constantly just like, what's coming next, even though it's just another train runaway Indiana Jones chasing.
Yep. I forgot to mention the bullwhip too with the lion. You get that as well in here.
Yep. Yeah, the snakes, multiple snake gags. Is it where he initially has the fear for snakes? Is he already afraid of snakes? Doesn't really matter. But it's present there because we have to get all of it in. Like you said, we get the moral side of Indy. He does want to at least get stuff in a more right direction other than just take it for personal gain and glory. And then we get the interaction with the father that we are going to explore even more, which is Indy does this amazing thing, and his father can't even bother to turn around. Because he is so fixed on his thing. And we get the idea that like Indiana Jones is closed off and is just on this constant pursuit of all of these treasures and glory and stuff because he wants to finally impress his dad. Like that's it. He wants to finally bring something home that his dad will turn around from his work and be like, good job, son. You found it.
It's a cornerstone of Lost, as me and Luke have been discovering through our journey throughout daddy issues. It's a great character motivator when you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always there. It's always present throughout the movie. They're constantly, sparring back and forth through the dialogue, trying to get to that point. And the whole idea for this being the Holy Grail as the treasure that they're going after together is that this is this lifelong quest that all of these different, people throughout history have been looking for. Is the Grail, is the Grail, is the Grail. And so to have it be finally the thing that Indy's like, if I can find the Grail for my dad, that is going to be, that's going to be the one. And the fact that they do it together is, makes the movie even more special.
Yeah. And real quick, also, it's just the fact that I know that these are all of these movies, not just this one, are posed as serial adventure. So none of them quite ever offer up an ending. But if an argument is to be made of why this was the perfect third movie and really should have closed the franchise, especially given, the relative quality of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny, it's that that kind of like struggle that you were mentioning of Indy, this whole thing that this whole kind of undertaking, this career path, this life path that he's chosen ultimately to go on these crazy harebrained adventures and bring back these artifacts. The fact that we finally get like the personal motivation for that, it was all to impress his dad, and the fact that he's finally earned his father's respect by the end. I mean, that you can't get much better of a closing arc / denouement, if you will, of especially following up the previous two movies.
Yeah, I think you always had to, especially with the introduction of the father-son dynamic in this movie, you always had to eventually do a Indy as the dad type movie, which is obviously what Crystal Skull is. I think all of the ideas going into Crystal Skull are right on the money. Like, it makes sense. They just chose the wrong thing.
And if I'm being honest too, I think it's time period also that really affects it. Like, part of the charm of Indiana Jones is that 80s big budget, but everything feels practical, everything feels real, everything feels down and dirty. Like in 2008 and then in 2023, almost 20 years later, it's like just the glossy green screen CGI, everything. It doesn't have that authentic feel that makes people fall in love with Indiana Jones. You can get away with that with a lot of different genres, but Indy, it's got to feel real. It's got to feel practical. And there's just like a cleanness to all of movies that come out today because of how digital everything is. It takes away from something like the Indiana Jones movies. And it's part of the reason why Hollywood, I feel like, has had such a hard time with recreating all of those iconic 80s IPs for today. They're finally sort of figuring it out with Alien and Predator, but it took them how long to do that?
Yeah, and I would say that they haven't quite figured out Alien yet. I don't like the newer Alien stuff that has come out after Prometheus and Covenant. I don't like the direction that they're heading.
Okay.
Which is a lot more like kids in space type nonsense.
Well, did you watch the show that just came out, Alien Earth?
Yeah, we covered the show
Okay.
On our pod because we started, our first franchise was Alien. So we did all the Alien movies as our first episodes. Then a year later, the show came out. We did the show. I really enjoyed the first 3 episodes. And then the 5th one, which is kind of the long movie in the middle.
Yeah.
And then from there on, nope. Don't have any interest in any of that.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of House of the Dragon season 2, where it's like, I'm like, wow, I'm really locked in. I'm really into this. And then the ending ends at a really stupid cliffhanger. And you're like, oh, what? Like, we're doing the Walking Dead of it all, where we're just like, tune in next time for more fun stuff. I'm like, you couldn't actually give us a fucking resolution. Okay. Like,
you know what I did is I read the entire House of the Dragon book. So I don't have to watch the show anymore.
Well, see, I did too. And so I knew naturally what was coming. But like, based off of what they promised us, we were going to get in that finale versus what we actually got. I'm like, so the only notable things that we got this season were the Battle of Rook's Rest and the Sowing of the Seeds. And then all the cool shit we're going to have to wait for seasons 3 and 4 to get. Yeah,
I dropped that show like a bad habit after the first season.
Yeah.
Indy, I like that they go immediately back to the college. We get the legacy of the hot Indiana Jones teacher is now just at a fever pitch after the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
His class is probably like, the wait list on that has to be insane.
And they're like, we've never had this many amount of girls sign up for a class ever. Like, what? And keep in mind too, because it's the 80s, but it takes place in 1938. And they're like, so they're still just getting used to the idea of women in higher education in general, and they're like, "This is strange. This is an abnormally large amount of women. Women signing up for this.
Unbelievable! Like, that college didn't have to do Title IX or anything like that.
Well, Title IX was not a thing in the 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, I'm saying they never would have had to do it. Like 70 years later, all they had to do was just have Harrison Ford teach classes. They had plenty of women at the colleges.
True.
Unbelievable. Like we would. Like, it would be like a 90-10 split in the
record-breaking numbers right there. There's like the one dude in that class like actually there to learn something, and it's like, damn, like
he's like, I'm never gonna have a girlfriend, but I'm learning a lot of this.
I'm learning a lot of stuff right here.
Although it doesn't seem like Indy ever gets to the end of his class.
No, he's always interrupted by Marcus or some other thing. I feel like his class should have been the title of that Mel Gibson movie, What Women Want. That should have been the title of his class.
It should be, yeah. And it's just Harrison Ford wearing large glasses.
Exactly.
That's what
all it is. I'll still never forget the scene in Raiders of the girl like blinking the shit, and I'm like, oh my god, like he's so lucky that was the 30s and not today. Oh man,
the best. Well, we talked about it on the episode, but the whole Marion being like implied.
Yeah, that's I still don't know how I feel about that as far as like the age gap. I'm like, I get it. It was a different time, but like she was like 15, 16 when they first met. Like,
well, it goes to show you, people out there, don't take this as advice or anything. If you are extremely handsome, you can get away with a lot of stuff.
Clearly. Especially if you're at a certain time in history. Absolutely.
So Walter Donovan comes in. He summons Indy. They have some new stuff going on for him. Turns out it's about the Grail. They have a rubbing of a partial stone tablet, and they want Indy to go check out the other half of it, make sure that it's all, going in the right direction. And then Indy eventually realizes that his father is missing. He takes the job to find his father and the Grail all basically in one go. Indy and Marcus go to Henry's house. It's ransacked. Henry's Indy's dad. This is how it's written in the notes. Mysterious package arrives. It's the Grail's diary. It's mailed to Indy for safekeeping, obviously from his dad. And then we get to Venice, where we get kind of our first into into the chase, into the discovery type stuff. Indy and Marcus meet Elsa, our femme fatale. The trio investigate the catacombs under the library/church. Very cool. I really enjoy this scene here. Again, it's kind of like the snakes and the pool of snakes in the Raiders, but it's very cool. They find the Knight's tomb, location of the path, the big flat thing with the Grail and carving. Very, very cool stuff. So we'll stop there. Everything up to that point, Dominic, how are you feeling so far?
Oh man, I mean, we're into it now. We're fully into the adventure. We've been introduced to kind of the call to action, if you will, with Donovan telling Indy about his dad. Also, Julian Glover, a former Bond villain, a staple of 80s franchise filmmaking. He had been in Empire Strikes Back. Modern day audiences will probably know him as Grand Maester Pycelle from the first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones. So that was just a little fun insert there. What's it called? I know we haven't gotten to this section yet, but I still never forget when Sean Connery was like, "Well, Donovan, I knew you would always shove your mother for an Etruscan vase." But just some iconic Connery one-liners in here. But yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because we're still in setup phase. But once again, like I know I'm going to harp on this like every section that we talk about this, but I'm still in awe of Spielberg's action filmmaking ability. Where within how long of a stretch of minutes we go from the college to Donovan's party, to Henry Jones Sr.'s house to find it ransacked, to flying to Venice, to meeting Elsa, to they're in the library. Indy's already getting the hots on with Elsa because she's a gorgeous, attractive blonde with Harrison Ford. Gee, what could possibly happen here? Yeah. That's what makes the twist later on with his dad even more hilarious and even more satisfying. Gets into a little bit of a Freudian complex right there as well. That Spielberg may have also been trying to work some stuff out here as well.
Oh yeah. Yes.
You also get the what's it called? So some more little MacGuffin clue chasing with, putting some clues together, which I always love. And you also get the introduction of I'm trying to think the group of that tries to attack them. The Brotherhood of the Cruciform Sword, who again, there's a little bit of a switcheroo here where at first when you're introduced, you assume that these are the bad guys, but then they eventually in the chase afterwards realize, oh, they're just trying to protect the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
What is that?
For those watching,
players, yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones wearing the Fez hats the entire time. They're the protectors of the Grail.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, I know the Grail is supposed to be Christian in nature. So, but I'm like, is this also like the first thing that could be like, putting more of is one of the only movies that like shows, Muslim or people who are meant to be perceived as being Islamic followers. Followers is obviously, again, because that's the other thing too. Also, is we know that Spielberg likes to play a little bit fast and loose with history and mythology as it is, but because of the distinct religious nature, specifically the Catholic nature of this, that I feel like was not quite as there with the first two as well, because the last one was much more so about diving into Hinduism, and then the first one is just straight up just like mysticism as well. And I guess you could say more so straight Christianity. But this one again, with the explorations in the Middle East and with Islam, I feel like that's kind of what's it called? I feel like that's Spielberg's trying to do something with Islam here, as well as the fact that obviously this is the 80s, so we were very much, allies with Afghanistan and, trying to get all these Middle Eastern countries on our side against the big bad USSR. So I just can't help but notice that, like, upon, like, this latest time watching it.
For sure. And I think it has to do with the Crusades nature of it. The fact that, the Grail, for all intents and purposes, from a historical standpoint, was probably in Jerusalem for a while. A lot of the fighting over the Holy Land back in the time of the Crusades was these type of epic quests where people are coming from, Western Europe into the Middle East, looking for these relics of stuff that they had read about in the Bible and different religious texts like that. I do know that there is like a huge faux pas against Muslim stuff or Islamic stuff being in media. There's the whole South Park episode about depicting Muhammad. And you don't do it. So a lot of like the Islamic mysticism, like spooky treasures, sort of adventure stuff, you just can't do because people would get super offended. But you can do that with all the Christian iconography, which, adds to, you just get to use these crazy stories that everyone kind of knows. So you throw in the Holy Grail everyone knows about the Holy Grail. You have the comedic side of it with Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You have, the stories of King Arthur and all that sort of stuff. So you have the idea of it. I think, like you said, the Islamic part of it is the Crusades. So you have a, Islamic force in the guys that are trying to protect the Grail, maintain it. You have the Nazis, obviously, as the secular bad guys that are using it only for nefarious reasons. They want to take the power and wield it for humanity, to enact evil. And then Harrison Ford and his dad are essentially the keeper of the flame. Like, this is supposed to be of history, so it has to stay in history, stay in a museum, be appreciated, not wielded as power, though they do technically wield it as power to save Sean Connery's life.
Yes. For good. They use it for good. That's the thing, not
true.
for nefarious purposes.
Yeah, and I think I'll mention it here. I think that Alison Doody, the girl that plays Elsa, I think she's pretty good for like the first half of this movie. And then when she goes bad,
full evil, that's when
you lose
she
it.
Falls into caricature land a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I want to get to Bavaria, the castle, and everything that happens there, just the lunacy that happens there. But and it goes because that also has another one of my favorite cuts in the whole movie. I think you'll know which one when we get there.
Yeah. I think Spielberg and I have the same hang-ups with women, because she looks fantastic in this movie. And I fully get it. Things must not have been going on super well with
I mean, if you saw The Fabelmans, you understand,
yeah, some issues.
Kind of makes a lot of sense. I'm like, oh yeah, having that absentee mom that cheated on your dad with his best friend. Yeah, that would create a decent amount of hang-ups for me too.
Yep, plenty of that. Maybe things weren't going super well with Kate Capshaw, so he throws another blonde into the third movie and is like, she's actually a bad guy now.
Yeah, exactly. She's evil now. It's like, wow, so I'm like, so Marion is still gonna be the only good female character in all these movies. Damn, that's tough. That's tough.
We made a compelling case for Kate Capshaw last week, so hopefully she listened to that show, because we gave her a lot of flowers, probably more flowers than anyone has ever given Kate Capshaw for Temple of Doom ever.
Probably.
We just basically thought she didn't ruin the movie, and through that, she's good.
Yeah, compared to some other characters that have straight up ruined movies before, I'm like, Kate Capshaw's kind of like, she's entertaining, because you know what the thing is that like it's a type, but everybody involved with the movie knows that it's a type, and that's what makes it funny. Like, nobody in that movie is like ever once like delusional about the type of character that she is, and the fact that everybody and their mother is giving her shit and calling her out for how useless she is, and she just continues, like, it makes it even more funny.
Well, and she gets to play a bunch off of Kiwi Kwan the entire movie. So his charm and comedy is like blanketing a lot of like what you might not like about her. So at least in scenes where she's kind of insufferable, Short Round is like doing something funny.
Right. Yeah.
So we get, the brother of the cruciform sword. They're the ones trying to protect the Grail. They are not seeking it. Indy learns that his dad is held in the castle of Brunwald, which is on the Austrian-German border. So we get to go into the Nazi world. Very fun stuff. Like, the Nazis, from a historical precedent, like, all of the high-ranking officials, once they essentially took over Germany, were just like, all of these castles that used to be for the monarchy and stuff, we're just going to live in those now. Like, the like mountainside estate that Hitler lived in is like gorgeous. It looks like it's in Colorado, like looking over, just forests, and it's amazing what these evil people lived in, these castles on the hill. But we get the Sean Connery, Harrison Ford connection finally at the castle in Brunwald. Ton of comedy. This is like some of the best getting out of a jam type stuff, getting in, out of it, getting back into it, back and forth. Donovan's the one that meets up with Sala. He's the one that has the journal, right?
No. So he sends Marcus,
not Donovan. Sorry.
Marcus. Closing off of Venice, right? Yeah. It's the fact that they get back to their hotel rooms. They find them ransacked. He found out from the one Brotherhood member where his father's being held. He sleeps with Elsa. He sends Marcus to go meet up with Sala with the diary.
Yep.
And what's it called? And then while him and Elsa head to Bavaria to head to Germany to get his dad back. So it's that whole sequence of events. And like you said, once they get to the castle, I go back and forth about what my favorite stretch of this movie is. Again, I love this movie so much. So there's very few stretches of this movie that I don't like. I really think this might be it. From the moment they enter, because that's the other thing. Up until this point, too, they don't really know who the bad guys are because they've only been subject to 2 ransacked spaces and been attacked by the Brotherhood of the Cruciform Sword, who are just trying to protect the Grail. But they don't know up until this point that the Nazis are behind this until they get to the castle, and that's when we finally get the reveal. And as soon as you see it, you're like, oh, the Nazis are back. Okay, bad guy. Also, some more time period. Like I said, 1938, so this is still pre their invasion of Poland. So this is still like up to the point where like, oh, so the Nazi party is like very much become like a thing, but it's still not quite to the point where like
it's not
the rest
worldwide.
Of the world right, exactly. They're not taking them as a worldwide threat quite yet. They're still in like their weird, absurd treasure hunting phase where they're trying to find all these weird treasures around the world. You get the Donovan reveal here that he's been kind of the mastermind behind this. You get the new Nazi commander in this one, who is, let me look up his name here. It's Ernst Vogel, who has a very, very expressive face, if you will. You get the Schneider reveal here that she's also one of the bad guys. You get an incredible reveal here where the dad is like, so it's like, how did you know? What? How did you know she was a Nazi? She talks in her sleep. Great reveal without having to say much. Just some absolute comedy. When Indy finally finds his dad smashes the vase over his head. He's like, Junior, yes, sir. What are you doing here, Junior? That was great. And then he's
don't call me Junior.
Don't call me Junior. And then he holds up the vase. He's like, it's a fake. And that was great. And when they're trying to escape, it's like, I find that if I just shit and take a minute, and he accidentally springs the trap and Indy falls down the steps. He's like, the answer must reveal itself. It's great. This is my favorite stretch of the movie. Also, one of the funniest cuts in the movie. Also, which I believe was part of Tom Stopper's rewrite of this movie. When they're captured, they're brought before Donovan. Donovan, they figure out that he's given the diary to Marcus. That Marcus has gone to it, and is like, Donovan's like, Brody sticks out like a sore thumb. We'll find him. You'll find him. And then Indy's like hell you will. He's like, Marcus speaks a dozen languages. He can blend in anywhere. He's like, if I'm not mistaken, he's gone off the face of the earth already. And then it cuts to Marcus in the middle of the scribe. Being like, does anybody here speak English? Good God, it's just one of the just the comedy. Everything that makes this movie great is just on point with this sequence here.
There's this British comedian, I can't remember the name of his name, but he does a show with his dad, a traveling show, and his dad is basically just an insufferable British old guy who doesn't like leaving England, and so his son, who's a comedian, thinks it's hilarious to take him to places and just have this guy just give nonplussed answers about stuff like. Like, we're at the Taj Mahal, isn't that great? And the guy's just like, oh, Piccadilly Circus is pretty awesome.
The guy sounds like an older version of Colin Farrell's character from In Bruges.
Well, it's just like, here's one for you. It's just like people that travel from New York to other places in the United States, and they're like, well, I mean, New York's got this. Yep. You're like, yeah, of course it does. There's 20 million people there.
It gives me a Ron Swanson a little bit, where he's in England and he takes a picture of Big Ben. And he's like, oh, look, clocks. We don't have that in the States. Like, that's just shit like that is just hysterical to me.
Yeah, whereas, Indy and his dad, like, everywhere they turn, they're just in awe of this, historical, monument that they can tell you, what happened to it 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the jokes come from, the verbal sparring back and forth between the two. The pen is mightier than the sword, doing all that sort of stuff. The implied that these guys are both ladies' men, obviously.
Yes,
Indiana Jones' dad is,
literally to the point where they both slept with the same woman, which could write an entire book just based on that alone.
The shot where Elsa's kissing Harrison Ford and Connery thinks she's coming for him and turns around and is just like, of course she's going for the younger.
It's so good. And then, of course, another great tidbit is like, this is how we say goodbye in Austria, and this is how we say goodbye in Germany. He just punches him in the face.
It's great stuff. All the action in this, again, Spielberg just knows exactly where to put the camera so that you know exactly what is going on within the space that you're navigating through. You're never lost. You're never not like, what's going on? What direction are these guys heading to? Like, what has to happen for them to get away? He's just simply the best at it. I was on the Goldeneye podcast last night with the MCU's Bleeding Edge guys, and I was just like watching Goldeneye, watching James Bond after watching Indiana Jones. You're just like, every movie is just Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It is, plot setup, chase, plot setup, chase, plot setup, chase. And you just do that over and over and over again. And Indiana Jones is just the best at it.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, this is a chase that goes from like a motorbike to a blimp to a biplane. Like, it just never, and also like as if the killing off Nazis in the most ridiculous cartoonish ways possible in Raiders wasn't already good enough. Spielberg was like, oh, you thought that me killing Nazis was going to be hysterical in Raiders? Hold my beer. I'm going to one up myself here. I'm going to have Indy fucking sticking broken poles into Nazi bikes and cause them to flip over. And I'm going to have like, me tricking out Nazis by making me think that I'm fleeing in a boat. And really I'm waiting in a box on a bike with my dad in the sidecar right there. I'm gonna have a scene where I'm literally getting a book signed by Hitler, and I'm gonna make it funny. I'm gonna dress up as a Nazi and punch this guy off a blimp, and then pull it off as being like, "Oh, no ticket," and just hysterical stuff right here. And of course, when they're in the biplane, he's like, 11 o'clock, and he pulls out the watch. Yep. What happens at 11 o'clock?
It's so good. It gets me every single time. That is like my favorite version of a dad joke, is where you do stuff like that, where you have a kid that says, I'm tired, and you go, hey, I'm Luke, nice to meet you. Like, that type of stuff will get me every single time. Harrison Ford, has anyone ever looked better in a Nazi SS uniform?
Yeah. Right?
Just
like, I
incredible.
mean, and it's not the first time he's done it either, too. So,
yeah, the Hitler bit where Hitler signs the journal is incredible.
Yeah.
It made me laugh every single time. The Zeppelin scene into the fighter plane escape. Do you know how to fly a plane? Yeah, but I don't know how to land. Incredible stuff. Eventually crash lands the thing because he has to. They're catching up with Marcus. He's in trouble. They team up with Sala to intercept the convoy that's heading out. And then we just get into, I think,
the next chase that happens immediately after. Like, usually I feel like there would be like a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breathing room, but they go like, aside from like, I feel like the first scene where like Indy and his dad are talking and his dad slaps him and says, don't say, that's blasphemy. But, after that, and that's the other thing too about doing an impression of Sean Connery, you can't help doing an impression of Sean Connery without doing the Sean Connery voice. But this one, it's like, after that scene, they just go immediately again. It's the Hitler signing the book, to the blimp scene, to the biplane scene, to the meeting up with Sala, to now they're trying to ambush the convoy so they can save Marcus, which involves a tank literally driving off a cliff at the end. Like, they are just like no holds barred with this.
No, this is the Vince McMahon meme where it's like, Zeppelin chase, you're like, whoa, you're like, into a biplane crash land, whoa, into a chasing off of a cliff, and you're like, oh my god,
it's literally that, and it just keeps going.
Spielberg is just going supernova. Now, again, I will add the criticism that this is very similar to a 20-minute stretch in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, but it doesn't matter because it's just that and upping it to fucking 11.
Everything inside the tank with Marcus and Indy's dad just being old British dudes in the center of this tank.
I love it. I love it. When
we're here to rescue you.
Stuff back and forth to each other. I love that. And like I also can tell that like just as much as like that, like Marcus has been like a surrogate father to Indy but also like because him and Henry Jones have been like such close friends, and like Sean Connery and Denholm Elliott don't miss a beat together. They just met. This is the first time they get on screen together in the movie. Immediately get along together. Sean Connery spraying the ink in the Nazi's face. Him getting caught as they're trying to escape, and him being like,
well, they're doing like the goofy song to each other when they finally see it.
That was great. But that also one of my favorite lines when Connery gets serious, and Connery shows like, yeah, I'm being a goofball this time, but I'm also, he's like, I was James Bond, motherfucker. Don't you dare forget that. He's like, it means that goose-stepping morons like yourself should try reading books instead of burning them. It's just gems. Like the amount of one-liners that came from this movie alone.
Well, it's like a couple of the lines he gets in The Untouchables, which I think his best performance. It's tough, but his.
I mean, it won him the Oscar, which, if you ask me, don't bro, I love him in Untouchables, which is 2 years before this movie. He should have won the Oscar for this. He really should have.
Yeah. He's playing kind of the same character, because he gets all the great one-liners. He gets to be the old guy that still got it type of thing. But yeah, I think
this is funnier, and we know that the Oscars never reward comedy ever.
That's true. Yes. Yep. And he's so. Like, it's tough to give an Oscar to someone that's so beholden to the main character. They did it with the Joker, because the Joker doesn't exist without Batman. So it's really hard to be like, Jack Nicholson, do we give him? No, like, you would never even consider it. Heath Ledger, like, perfect storm because he died and everything.
Right.
But yeah, it's really tough when, like, Indiana Jones, and you're like, I'm going to give it to Indiana Jones's dad in the movie.
Yeah. Well, you think about it this way, too. The fact that Harrison Ford only has 1 Oscar nomination in his entire life, and it's for Witness, is insane. Nothing for Indiana Jones, nothing for Han Solo. You also compared the fact that if you look at the Oscars that year, this is the Driving Miss Daisy year that wins picture. But
he should have. I would have to look at the year, but he should have won for The Fugitive.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Fugitive is a couple years after this. But the thing about this year, specifically the supporting actor race, Connery is not even nominated because do you know who won that year?
I don't
for supporting actor. One of the few times that a young actor has won. That's Denzel. This was his first Oscar win
for Glory.
For Glory. Yep, that was this year. So it's a tough act. And also, barn burner of a supporting actor race. Danny Aiello for Do the Right Thing. Aykroyd for Driving Miss Daisy. Marlon Brando for Dry White Season. Martin Landau for Crimes and Misdemeanors. So the supporting actor race that year is already stacked to begin with.
Yeah, and Do the Right Thing should have won the Best Picture. It's not a crime. It probably didn't have a chance going in, so it's not really one of those like it's a crime it didn't win. Obviously, in historical context, it is a crime it didn't win. That is one of the best movies of the 80s. It's one of the best movies of the last 50 years. But yeah, this movie is a ton of fun. I don't like going through all those films. It probably shouldn't have been. Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, that never wins an Oscar. No one is ever going to win an Oscar. If Mark Hamill's not going to win it for Luke Skywalker, like he's not going to win it for Indiana Jones. Though, the one guy who broke the mold, Rocky Balboa.
Yep.
Sylvester Stallone. It can be done, and he also should have won.
He can be nominated. I was about to say, but he still can't win.
Well, he won for the first Rocky. He won Best Actor.
No, he didn't.
Didn't he?
No, he did not.
Oh no, it was writing, directing that he won the duel. He didn't win for. Yeah, you're right. He didn't win for acting.
He didn't direct the first Rocky, and Rocky did not win screenplay. Rocky won picture and director for John G. Avildsen. He did not win actor or screenplay. So even though the movies themselves have Oscars, Stallone himself still does not have an Oscar to his name.
I thought he did.
Nope, because Best Actor that year is Peter Finch for Network. It was a posthumous award. And
you're right.
Screenplay that year, I believe, was also Network as well.
Yeah, so it was picture, director, and editing. It was editing.
That's right. Yep. I knew it won a third, but...
Yeah, so Talia Shire was nominated for actress. He was nominated for actor in a leading role. And then
Burgess Meredith and Burt Young were both nominated for supporting.
Yep, and then he should have got the Oscar for Creed, and then they didn't do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we're going to give it to Mark Rylance for for mumbling the whole time. I love Mark Rylance. He's a terrific actor, and every performance after that, I have loved him in. I've still not forgiven him for stealing Stallone's Oscar.
It's tough. He's so good in the Nolan movie
Dunkirk. Dunkirk and Trial of the Chicago 7 are the two that I go to. And also Bones and All. He's terrifying in Bones and All. The Guadagnino movie about the cannibals.
Are you one of the few people that like Trial of the Chicago 7?
I do like Trial of the Chicago 7. Yes, I think it is overhated, and I think it was just the timing of that movie when it came out.
Are you a Sorkin guy?
Depends on the thing. I'm not always a Sorkin guy. Some of his stuff I'm not a big fan of, like Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. I do like The Newsroom, but that one is not nearly as good as West Wing. Social Network obviously is the GOAT. Charlie Wilson is but I do like Trial. I do like Trial a lot.
Okay. So I've actually just done 2 TikTok 1-minute essays on The West Wing. I'm on my 3rd rewatch of it. I love Sorkin. Steve Jobs is my favorite
Yeah, Steve Jobs is
Sorkin,
another one. Really good.
and then basically all the rest of them, just throw them in there. They're great. I've been saving the Newsroom like a half rotten apple that I will eat the good part of at some point.
It's one of those things where I don't personally hate it. I enjoy it, but I understand everybody's criticisms of it.
Sure. Yeah, it is supposed to be just way up its own ass.
Yes.
And that's kind of, I like Sorkin when he does that.
Yeah.
It's
like I said, it's because at the end of the day, nobody does Sorkin like Sorkin. I didn't watch the fucking the Lucy, the Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball movie, because that just looked like fluff.
Yeah, he's got to get back into his thing again. Hopefully that
Social
happens.
Reckoning, fingers crossed.
That's true.
Molly's Game too. Also love Molly's Game.
I'm a defender of Molly's Game. I think it's pretty
really
good.
Yeah. Really good.
But I like every movie about poker ever made. The one with Oscar Isaac that came out.
Oh, Card Counter. Love that one.
Incredible
Love that one.
movie. I don't know why I put off watching it for so long. I think that's the performance of that year.
Yeah.
I think Oscar Isaac's incredible in that movie.
I agree. That's one of my favorite Oscar Isaac movies.
Yeah, speaking of performance, we'll get back into it. Connery gets to end this scene fantastic, looking over the edge where he thinks Indy has flown off of.
Another great scene that just has all the emotions, the tragedy of the loss. You see all the different reactions from Henry, from Sala, from Marcus, and then Indy just comes up just looking battered and exhausted, being like, what's it? So the combined, like, both relief and hilarity also, it's like, really, nobody does it like Spielberg. No. Nobody does it like Spielberg.
No, and it doesn't appear that Indy heard anything that his dad said. So when he pops up and is just like, what are you guys looking at? Like, I just got my ass beat for the last hour. Like, what are you looking at?
I thought I lost you.
Yeah, so full cathartic moment there. And then we get on to what I think is the weakest part of the film, which is everything to do with the Grail once we get there.
Right. So real quick, why is this the weakest section for you?
So it leans very heavily on basically what happened already in Raiders, which is that you're going to have the convergence of all of our main bad guys and good guys at this one point. We're going to let the good or bad guys essentially get to the thing first, and then we're going to have who is worthy of the quest. It is so blanketly said in this movie that I'm like, it's like hitting you over the head with it. You're like, yes, we get it. Yes, Indy will be the only one that's worthy. I just think that Raiders does it way better. So this being a total rehash of everything again, even the stakes of Sean Connery's character being shot and needing the power of the Grail essentially to heal, didn't really, get me to the level that it wanted to. So this to me kind of just falls into, I've seen it once. I don't really love watching it over and over again.
I guess too, it's the fact of I inherently the unpredictability of what's going to happen when you open the arc, because at the end of the day, like, nobody really knows what'll happen when you open this thing. I mean, it's rumored, like they set it up vaguely in the beginning, but you still don't have a clue until you actually see it. And in this one, it's always going to be kind of a predictable setup where it's like, oh, the Grail is supposed to heal all wounds and grant eternal life, supposedly, as long as you stay within the confines. So there is inherently a predictability to that as well. So it's more of the fun is seeing Indy get through the traps than necessarily see the power of the MacGuffin at the end. Although we do get two very, very entertaining and ridiculous over-the-top deaths that are also, that also shows, like, the bad guys falling victim to their hubris with Donovan drinking from the wrong one. And we get a very entertaining him, like, rotting away.
But it's essentially the face melting Nazi. Like, it is that again. So we get the three trials. We get the Breath of God, Only the Penitent Man, where Indy kneels, Whirling Blades. Word of God, the Stepping Stones, Spelling Jehovah. Obviously, Indy,
which starts with an I.
Indy knows the trick. And then the Path of God, which I think is the dumbest one. because it's
Yeah,
essentially
'cause
a
it's just
visual
an
trick.
it's an optical illusion.
Yeah, it's a
Exactly.
visual trick that the camera literally has to move so that you understand what the visual trick
Well,
is.
yeah, but again, that's also a part of it is the fact of like, oh,
Yeah.
visual trickery is part of this whole thing. And then once they actually meet the knight, and of course, once Donovan makes it through and what's it called? And drinks out of the wrong grail. One of the
He throws him
iconic moments. It
poorly.
also created like an awesome meme on How I Met Your
Yeah.
Mother is he chose poorly. I love that. It's great. It's
Yep.
awesome. Could just
Yep. Great How I Met Your Mother shout
yes.
out. I do that all the time, and my co-hosts never have seen How I Met Your Mother. And I'm like, it is the friends
Lush for me.
of people my age. It is our friends. And it
Yeah.
perfectly went through episode by episode all these things in my friendships that I call back to all the time.
Yeah.
Like the glass shattering
Yeah.
moment when you
Yeah.
find that one annoying thing about somebody finally, and then you just see it over and like I get that all the time.
You can't unsee it once you've noticed it. Yeah, it's funny because the amount of times that has happened. So I'm a little younger than you, if I had to guess, but the amount of times that has happened to me, where like I realize in real time shit about people that I'm like I could just never understand. Like once I just heard how my friend said literally, like he says literal instead of saying literally, he says literally, like he just takes out the E. And I literally like once I heard that, I just could not unhear it. And now every time he says it, I'm like, it's like one of those things. So yeah, I know exactly what
there's an episode where they find out that Robin, her boyfriends over like the last couple of weeks or months have been like dogs.
Yes.
And she's with a guy that they call
so
Scooby.
Good. It's so good.
I see that like friends that are in relationships and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, she found her dog.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yep. I know a customer who comes into my store who's got a couple of those.
Yeah. So yeah, we get the Indy choosing wisely. After Donovan picks the wrong cup, Indy chooses wisely, saves his father. Elsa tries to steal the grail. Temple begins to crumble. Indy almost falls trying to grab the grail himself, and Henry calls him Indiana for the first time. He doesn't call him Junior.
Yes.
And
beautiful come full circle moment. And also you have the whole, again, the Nazis giving into their hubris, Elsa falling into the shaft, Donovan, rotting into a corpse, and Indy finally like is able to kind of, and just such a beautiful catharsis, such a beautiful coming full circle moment, perfect fulfillment of the arc, and really the arc of the series in general, that like Indy has finally filled that hole that he's been trying to fill with all these treasures that he's been hunting for all these years, and that his father finally sees him and acknowledges him for who he is. And that's what allows him to finally as his father says, let it go, and allows his father to save him, and they manage to get out of the chasm. It's perfect.
It's important that the grail is lost.
Yes.
Essentially, that Indy realizes that it's not them finding the grail together that has brought him and his father closer together. It is, just their history, their love for each other in general, and they can kind of sit with that. I love that it's Marcus and Sala and those two. Like that is our core dudes from this series that we want to be with, that we want to spend time with. I've mentioned this, but Indy throughout these films, the worst judge of character of all time.
Yeah. Terrible.
He's almost as bad as James Bond. James Bond is the only one that gives him a run for his money. This guy falls in love with bad people all the time. Indy's just as bad. Constantly has friends that betray him throughout the entire movie, falls for the wrong girls.
In the case of Elsa, you know what they say about crazy girls,
Yeah, crazy hot scale.
There you go. The crazy hot scale. That's the thing. Also, another couple things are his dad acknowledging the knight. Also, a great come full circle moment for his dad as well, where his dad has also kind of been hunting for that his whole time. And even though like his dad's a little older, he still gets his little like, oh my God, this thing that I've been searching for my whole life is real. And of course, the great end gag. It's like, well, what is this Junior? Why do you keep calling him Junior? What's his name? Henry Jones Jr. I like Indiana. We named the dog Indiana. It's great. It's like, you're named after a dog, and Sala just cannot get enough of it. Also, again, and another great franchise crossover, the fact that Sala is John Rhys-Davies, also famously Gimli from Lord of the Rings. Just great stuff. And also an iconic ride off into the sunset. Like, again, perfect capper on this movie, on this trilogy, with the score blaring. It's, Marcus being like, I know the way, and then almost falling off his horse. It's like, it's great.
Yeah. And this movie, Raiders especially, these two movies together, you just see it in every movie going forward from then on. Spielberg started it with Jaws. He brings it to just a full fever pitch with Indiana Jones. Obviously, you have the magic of George Lucas and just his ability to create worlds that have stories in those worlds that people want to see. They want to, experience over and over again. The fact that these three movies hold up so well 30, 40 years into the future is awesome. Like, I did want to mention that I had Crusade on the other day, just to, refresh a little bit. My son he's 5. He was just running around, doesn't like adult quote unquote movies yet. But the opening train scene, he was staring at the entire way through. He was staring at a couple of things, going through. I don't think he's an Indiana Jones fan per se, but there is such visual style and storytelling that even a 5-year-old, they're transfixed to it because it's so well done. I think there's the whole thing that you could essentially do Raiders of the Lost Ark with just the score and cut out all the dialogue.
Look at what Soderbergh did. Soderbergh literally made a black and white version of that where he removed all the dialogue and audio and just set it to the Social Network score just because.
Yeah. Yeah. And didn't he just show that for his film class, or did he actually use that?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was I'm trying to remember who the French director was that redid I think it was Lars von Trier redid.
Psycho.
So
you're not talking about the Gus Van Sant shot for shot remake?
No, that is who it.
Oh, Gus Van Sant. Yeah. The Good Will Hunting guy.
Yep. So Gus Van Sant did a shot for shot remake. The funny thing about that is it feels like a different movie, even though it is shot for shot, which just shows that there's just something about the creator that is imprinted onto these films.
Yeah.
So you can try and do Spielberg. I suppose what I'm trying to say is you can try to do Spielberg, but only Spielberg can do Spielberg.
Only Spielberg can do Spielberg.
Nolan tries his best. So what we normally do at the end of these is we give out our awards. So we're going to give out an award for our favorite scene from the film, our favorite performance from the film, and then an overall MVP. So that can be any of the creators or any of the actors in the movie, or simply the MacGuffin itself. Sometimes it is just an object within a movie that becomes the MVP. So, Dominic, what is your favorite scene from Indiana Jones: Last of the Crusade?
Okay, so this is tricky because how do we measure the confluence, like the crossover between scene versus sequence? Because
you can pick whatever you want. It can be
so. If that's the case, I again, there's a lot that I could choose from, but I'm going with the whole sequence in the castle from the minute that they get there all the way through to. I'm going to cut it at the first motorcycle chase because I feel like once we're past the motorcycle chase, that gets into like a whole different thing. But everything that happens in the castle from the minute that they get there, all the jokes that happen all the way up until they escape on the motorbike has to be the castle sequence easily.
Awesome. We'll see if I keep it for when I talk with Chris about this, but I'm going to go with basically from when Indy and Sala split off to get horses, and Indy's like, don't get camels. And obviously
he comes back with nonstop camels.
Sala's like, I just got a great deal on the camels, man. I don't know what to tell you. I could pass this up. But from when Indy basically lets the horses go and then he's off on horseback to catch up with the tank, through him falling off the edge and coming, like, that's just gold. To me, that is the best part of this film. Shout out to the opening. I think it's the second best opening to the first movie. And I think there's a debate that it is the best. So performance of the film, go ahead.
Performance. So I was going to give this to Connery, but I think I'm going to reserve him for my MVP slot because Connery is just every single scene that he's in, he is just scintillating. So I'm actually going to give the performance award to Denholm Elliott, who, because the difference between this one and Raiders is Denholm Elliott is kind of just an exposition character in the first one. He's there to like kind of help introduce Indy to the world, and then he kind of disappears for the rest of the movie till the end. This time Marcus gets to like take full on Indy action.
He's a character.
His like British isms specifically are just put on full display in like just this wacky, crazy adventure that they go on. And it is just, it provides for some absolutely incredible comedy and like some great facial expressions. He has immediate incredible chemistry with everybody, with Indy, with Henry, with Sala, even with the Nazis that capture him. It's great. So I think I have to give this one to Denholm Elliott as Marcus.
Yeah. Well deserved. Like you said, he is part of the comedic beats of this movie. Love the old British dude out in the world trying to figure it out. I wish Sala had a little bit more to do, but he does get to do some of his Sala stuff. My performance is going to go to, I'll just throw it to River Phoenix. I think to come into the movie, he controls the first 10 minutes. He does not distract from the movie itself. He only is a great addition to it. Incredible job acting. You know exactly that he's trying to do Harrison Ford, and his scene is just fun. And I think it deserves his performance in it deserves a shout out, because if it is a lesser actor, if they just get any kid who kind of looks like he grew up to be Harrison Ford, it probably doesn't work. And this works phenomenally.
Yeah, I agree.
MVP.
Yeah, Connery. It has to be Connery. I mean, Ford, I feel like gets it for the first one in terms of that being his second iconic character that he gives us after Han Solo. But no, it's got to be Connery, because him coming in the third act, only being of the whole trilogy, only being 12 years older than Ford, matching Ford beat for beat, possibly being funnier than Ford in the movie in terms of like, yeah, Ford gets through all the physical comedy, but Connery's the one he's got all the one-liners. He's got all the hysterical moments. He once again reminds you that like, he's not just some, goofball. Like he is an absolute, fanatic about this stuff. He loves this stuff. He is just as much his son, just, from a different generation. And yeah, also the fact that, again, I feel like at this point in his career, we didn't know that Connery still had this kind of a performance in him. We knew that obviously he could be stoic and serious, but we didn't know that he could be funny. So yeah, that's why Connery has to get the MVP award for me.
I think it's well deserved. I think this gives Spielberg the sweep for me. I'm going to give Spielberg the MVP again. This movie looks incredible. Watching it so close, I haven't done like a within weeks watch of Crusade and Raiders back to back. I think Raiders is just like from a structure standpoint, and obviously a lot of the shots in it are really good. What they were able to do in 8 years with the color, with the sound mixing, with all of that additional stuff that you just need technology to improve for. Crusade has it in spades, and the movie looks phenomenal. The color compared to Raiders is just popping off of the screen. The desert looks incredible. It doesn't look washed out. Some of the scenes in Egypt look a little washed out. He's fully fixed that in this film. Everything's crisp. Everything pops off the screen. It's just, it's a masterwork. It's incredible. You don't even need the score. Shut off everything. Just watch it. It is a visual feast.
Although the score is pretty great to begin with.
Yeah. John Williams.
Yeah.
I hear he's pretty good. Probably want to write that name down for later.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we can get to our rating. So out of 10, we get fancy and add decimal points in. But out of 10, your rating for Last Crusade.
9.5 out of 10. Easy 9.5 out of 10. Like one of the easiest ratings I've ever given.
I believe that is what I gave Raiders. I'm going to knock this a little bit lower. I'll give it a 9.2. I think it's just a tad lower just because I don't like the last 20 minutes as much as I like. And I don't even like the last 15 minutes of Raiders all that much.
I'm sensing a common trend here.
It's endings. Endings are tough. Endings are tough to get. So, So Dominic, here's what happens to me. I am a critic, like a true movie critic at heart. I like pointing out what is done incorrectly in film and how it could be improved.
You're one of those guys.
But it does not mean that I dislike the film.
Okay.
I'm merely giving it pointers.
Okay.
Because I think, I just think that's how art should generally be talked about. It doesn't have to always just be a love fest. But I do love this movie. I love Raiders. I just think that the great movies of all time are reserved for ones that can nail the ending.
Oh, yeah.
That have everything else in between. It is pretty easy to make a compelling first 30 minutes of a movie. There are lots of movies that have great 30-minute stretches. It's tough to do the entire thing all the way through. I would say that's probably why Indy, the first 3 movies as a trilogy, don't win best trilogy of all time.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'd probably give that to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, and Lord of the Rings just separates itself from so many other trilogies in the sense of it's one of the only trilogies where they conceived of it as 3 movies first, as opposed to just being 1 movie and then, oh, this did really well, let's just do sequels, which is the case for literally every other franchise ever made. So
yeah, Star Wars, the first 3 movies of Star Wars, obviously iconic all time. So I think your top 5 trilogies, you can't really start anywhere else other than Indy, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. And then
I throw Toy Story and then the Apes reboot trilogy that just came out. I throw those in there too.
Sure. Yeah, I would never have the Apes movies near it. Maybe top 20 trilogy.
I absolutely would.
I think the first movie is so bad.
I disagree. I
really?
disagree.
I think
more.
it's bad.
I have said this before. I think it's the James Franco of it that weighs it down. But that movie is spectacular. I loved it when I first came out, and every time I've rewatched it, it's gotten better. Like obviously, in comparison to the Matt Reeves movies, it's not going to be as good. But I'm telling you, that first one it gets very, very overlooked. Specifically, like the third act, once the apes get loose and start wrecking shit, is like you want to talk about an awesome third act. Oh man.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have to get you on because we will do the Apes movies because my co-host,
I'm there.
My co-host Chris likes the Apes movies. His kids like them, so he has seen them over and over again. I'm a staunch no ape man. For some reason, I never got into them, so I just
I haven't seen any of the originals. I've never really had an impetus to watch the originals, but those reboots, like I saw Rise in theaters, and I'm like, oh, this is like actually really good. And then that made me want to go and watch Dawn and War, and I'm like, this might be one of the best movies of the decade. Oh my god!
Hey, that's high praise. That is really that's really going for it. All right, hold on. What happened here? There we go. I have to get out of this. I'm going to show your channel and we can do some plugs for you before we get out of here. So I just have to share my screen here.
Check one.
All right. So once again, this is Dominic from the Talkin TV podcast. They are currently doing a Lost recap right now.
Yes,
Dominic,
we are.
So go ahead and talk about that and everything else you got going on your channel.
We have been recapping Lost for the better part of a year, almost 2 years now. We are actually just about to get into our final stretch. We are finishing season 3 this coming month. I just recorded my Zootopia 2 review last night and Wicked for Good review from last week. Some upcoming stuff that we have coming out. We've got our Adam Sandler Hall of Fame. We are doing Avatar and Marty Supreme both the weekend before Christmas. We're wrapping the year with Stranger Things. We're doing a Leftovers retrospective. Actually, Luke, you are hopping on for that as well. You and Chris are both going to be hopping on for that one. Really, really looking forward to that. We do reviews. We do recaps. We do Actors Hall of Fames. We do it all. We do Directors retrospective, ranking. I try to do some top 10 lists every once in a while. It is all here on the official Talkin TV podcast. I also just recently started my Talkin TV merch line, which can be found at the link in the bio for my channel. So please be sure to check that out as well.
Thanks, Dominic. Yeah, bunch of great stuff. If you like our content over at the Franchise Addicts, you're going to love Dominic's stuff. He talks about a lot of the same stuff that I'm into, especially from a TV standpoint. A lot of our conversations that we've had have been about the TV shows that both of us are into and love. We obviously have the Indiana Jones stuff going on. If you want to catch up with any of those, we have our Temple of Doom episode and our Raiders episodes have been up. And I've also been doing some TikTok shorts, 1-minute essays. I have the most recent one is on the character Toby from the West Wing. And I've done one on the Two Cathedrals episode in the past. So check out our TikTok for all of those. I've done one on Task, one on Station 11, and 2 on the West Wing, and 2 on the Leftovers, I believe. So about 6 or 8 of those. Franchise Addicts TikTok. That's kind of what I got going on there. And then obviously YouTube for all the Franchise Addicts franchise movies. We are gonna, I'll tease a little what we're gonna be doing next month, and Dominic, see if you're interested in any of these films.
Yeah,
we are covering Mad Max at the start of the year. So we were going to be going all the way through Mad Max, first 3, and then Fury Road and Furiosa. So that is what we got coming up in January. And then we have a fun end of the year episode we're going to be doing, and Chris and I are planning that, where we are going to be doing our top 5 rankings of our own episodes.
Ooh.
And doing commentary of what we think we did super poorly.
Oh, wow.
In all of those episodes.
Getting real meta on us right here.
Yep. So we're going to be reviewing our own podcast and making fun of all of the stupid decisions that we made. We are only about a year and a half into this. So obviously the first year of our podcast, there's some very funny, dumb stuff that we did.
Cool.
So we're going to revisit all of that, rank it all. And then around Oscar time, Chris and I do our top 10 movies of 2025. I know, right. Dominic, you got that same thing coming out around this time.
Pretty much. I always have like a big panel that I do for my top 10 list. So when that comes out, so we'll have that. I mean, right now at this point, my top 10 is pretty much locked up. I'm just waiting I was just waiting to see Marty Supreme to see if that cracks it really at this point.
Do we got any teasers?
As far as some stuff that's come out, well, a lot of it is stuff that I saw at TIFF, but or in combination of like either at TIFF or before TIFF. But I mean, you can just go on my Letterboxd and see it. But
there you go.
Yeah, like I said, I usually don't like to give any spoilers before it comes out. I try to keep it as mysterious as humanly possible. But I will say that there has not been a movie that I've seen since October that has cracked it. So
okay. I will mention a couple of films that may potentially be on my top 10 list, and you can just nod if you thought they were good or not. So 28 years later, we covered the 28 weeks, 28 days. I really enjoyed the 28 years to fill out that trilogy. Eddington, obviously.
Also not on my list.
One Battle After Another.
That is on my list.
And what else have I seen this year? I haven't seen a ton of movies this year yet. Weapons
75 movies so far this year.
I will say that Weapons will not be on my list.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Chris loved that movie and has wanted to cover it on the show, and I have refused. I've stonewalled him every time. I think it's fine. It's just a pretty normal.
Are you one of those guys that was like, once the movie was only good because you didn't know what the hell was going on, and the minute you found out what was going on with it, you're like, oh, okay.
No, because that's kind of what a lot of Ari Aster movies are. You kind of figure out the horror element, and then you just sit in it. I didn't think that sitting in the horror of what was going on in that movie was very scary.
Yeah, even with the ending though.
The ending is just comedy.
Oh, I know it's made it awesome.
Well, yeah, if it's a comedy movie, I thought it was a very funny comedy movie. Yeah,
and keep in mind too, Zach Krieger is formerly of the whitest kids you know. So
yeah, and I actually think Barbarian is fantastic. I just like what was done from a horror standpoint in that a little bit more than what I liked in Weapons. I think he did the best version of the Airbnb double booked in the first hour of Barbarian.
Yeah.
Like he did that better than anybody else.
Yeah.
So like the back half of that movie is a little goofy, also pretty creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that's a more well-rounded movie. I think Weapons is a fine second, but it's not incredible or anything.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, it's just like I said, just save it.
Dominic is a super fan. Just having talked to him, this man loves stuff.
Yes, I do. I love what TV. I love, and I am unapologetic about it too. And I will defend it to the death.
If you got a second, I do have a couple Lost questions.
Oh yeah,
just because
throw it my way.
Lost is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Because I've seen the whole show too. That's the other thing. Luke, it's his first time watching it, but I've seen the whole show. So
okay, so I've seen Lost probably complete 3 times, and then just various episodes, obviously multiple times.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite character in Lost?
I go back and forth all the time. Right now, it's between Charlie and Hurley. I forgot like how short of a time Charlie is in the show as compared to Hurley. It used to be Locke up until I remembered. I'm like, oh yeah, Locke's kind of an idiot of a character. I mean, I love all the characters. I love Saeed. I love Sawyer. I love Jin. I've really come around on Jin a lot. But yeah, it's got to be Hurley.
Yeah. Well, Hurley is, I mean, Hurley's the heart of the show.
Yeah.
He is like, he has to be there. He has to be around. He has to be
He's
involved.
Just the guy that I relate to the most as far as being like, oh, the dude who nobody ever believes, but yet all the stuff that he buys into is the one that comes true. So I'm like, oh yeah, naturally I'm going to relate to that the most.
Love Charlie. Charlie's a tough hang for the.
It's a tough hang for a little bit, but he gets the best redemption of anybody. I mean, the not Penny's boat. I mean, come on.
Yeah. When I was rewatching it with my wife, I kept on having to be like, "You'll like Charlie eventually. You'll like Charlie eventually."
Season 2 is a rough stretch for him, but he makes up for it in season 3. Also, Desmond too. I forgot how much
I was going to say my favorite character is Desmond.
Yeah, Desmond's pretty great.
You have to wait for him, but once he's there, he's awesome. I like Daniel Faraday too.
Yeah, I still have yet to get to Faraday because the thing is that when I watched the show for the first time, I took my time with the first 3 seasons, but then when I got to season 4, I was like binging through the rest. So I feel like I didn't get as much of a chance to appreciate Faraday the first time around as I will this time because this time I'm forcing myself to watch it week to week.
And I'd have to look back at your channel. You said you just finished up season 3.
Just about to. So we'll be finished with season 3 by the end of this year. So we're doing DOC today, and then we have the last 4 that we're hitting in December.
Is season 4 the one with Penny's boat and the Desmond episode, the full Desmond backstory? Yeah.
So,
or is that in 3?
Flashes Before Your Eyes, which is the first time where we get Desmond time jumping.
Yeah,
and not Penny's boat. That's all.
But that's where
3.
he meets Jack when he's running the steps.
No. That's season 2.
That's the start of season 2, isn't it?
That's the start of season 2.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all season 2. Season 4 is the freighter season, where that's when the science crew first lands on the island.
Okay.
That's when it's kind of Locke versus Jack. They're trying to figure out if the freighter is trying to rescue them or if they're there for nefarious purposes. That's where we get the death of Alex and Russo. That's where and that's the one that infamously ends with Ben turning the wheel and moving the island through space and time. And then the Oceanic Six escape. That's season 4.
But we do get the Constant in season 4.
The Constant is season 4. Yes.
Yep. Which is the best episode of Lost ever.
Yes.
And it is a Desmond episode.
Yes.
Which is I like two runs later on in the show that I get a kick out of, that I enjoy, is just Desmond, everything up to there. Yeah. And then Sawyer Back in Time.
Yeah, Sawyer Back in Time is an arc that people really, really dig and enjoy. Yeah, so that we'll see once I get to season 5. Well,
and Sawyer would be my second favorite character probably to Desmond. I just think the entire trajectory of the bad, con guy with the heart of gold is so perfect. And then Jack is I like Jack's just from a character standpoint.
Because Jack's like, oh, what if we actually took the tortured hero and actually showed the tortured hero?
Well, everything with his dad is so good. Like Jack's dad just being connected to every single person is awesome.
Also played by a former Felix Leiter, John Terry.
Yeah. Fantastic actor.
Back to Bond there.
Yeah. So yeah, love Lost. One of my favorite shows. It is the show that got me into prestige TV and into loving that type of show. Not just, serialized television shows that are comedies, essentially.
Yeah.
Sitcom comedies. But yeah, this is the show. This is where it all started. And then Damon Lindelof into The Leftovers, where I don't know if Chris is going to be able to jump on that episode, but I will provide all the Leftovers conversation.
Yeah, and Leftovers, that's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward. I've been wanting to have that conversation for a minute now.
Yep. So we will do that the next time you see Dominic and I together. That is what we'll be covering. That'll be over on his channel. Thanks again for coming on. Awesome episode.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And we will have you on coming up soon. We'll stay in touch.
Looking forward to it. Take care.
All right. You bet. Thank you. And guys, we are out, and we will be back with me, Chris, and Peter on Tuesday night, tomorrow night. So join us then.